So we are now doing division for fraction. So what have you learned at school when you have, for example, half divided by a quarter?
Do you divide 2 by 4? No, do you make the thing the same and then you do? So for example, I turn 2 into 4,
Mhm.
and then I multiply 1 by 2, and then I divide 2 by 1, which is 2, and then it's 2 on 4. Is that it?
So what do you get? 2 on 4?
Yeah.
What do you think, Patrick? Do you agree that half divided by a quarter gives you 2 on 4?
I'm not very like confident in the thing. I don't think that's how it works, but wait, isn't it just the like I got 2 on 4, which is the denominator and the numerator?
So Raphael got 2 on 4. And now, do you agree with his answer?
Funny, though.
Yeah, I
I'm not
think
even
if
that-
you
I don't even
have
know
something
what-
different,
Yeah,
that's also fine. And maybe you can tell me the number. What do you think?
I've done this before. I just go.
Don't worry, take your time.
Yeah. I have like the whole day to do this.
So, is this the one that you are not doing at school?
Well, I'm doing it. Well, like I do it because I'm in the
Okay.
split class with Miss.
Okay.
I know he does.
Now, I'm not going to tell you how to do the division for fraction first, yeah? Rather, I'm going to remind you the meaning of division. Okay, so let's look at simple example. Like, for example, if you have 6 divided by 2. I think you guys
we
know
this.
the answer.
3.
It's 3, yeah?
Yeah.
So now if you look at this example, you can think of like 6, yeah?
Since it does
It's
count.
like how many? Yeah, how many?
Yeah, like parts of 2 are
Two.
in 6.
Yeah, how many 2's? And then you can think about when,
Oh wait, no, it's 2. It equals 2 because there's 2 quarters in half.
no, this is not 2 to the power of 2, sorry. So when you look at this division, 6 divided by 2 equals to 3, it's like 6 how many of 2, right?
Yeah.
And then
So
you
how
get-
many of the thing
you
it's
get
being divided by
3
is
times.
inside them?
So that's the meaning of division, yeah? This guy, how many of this guy?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know that before. Okay, good. Now, when you think about the meaning of division for fraction, that's actually exactly the same.
So it's how
So-
many of quarter is in a half?
Yeah, so half is how many? Quarter.
That's 2. 2 quarters are in a half.
Two, exactly 2. Yeah. So do you agree with Raphael that half is how many? It is 2 times quarter. So that's the answer actually. Yeah, it's like when you look at, let's say, you know, I have a whole part like this one. Now, when you think about half, so basically you divide this portion into 2 equally.
Yeah.
side, right? So this is half. Now, when you think about quarter, it gives you smaller. So this is now a quarter. So that's why when you look at half here, how many quarter, therefore you might say, okay, we have 2 of quarter, right? So the answer is actually equal to 2. So the meaning of the division basically the same like when you do the division for whole numbers or integers like this, yeah, 6 divided by 2, that means 6, how many 2s, yeah, and you got this number. Yes.
So like the way I did it is basically how you do division with fractions. Or is it like
Yeah, we will look at how we do it, the division, yeah, later, but I'm going to give you another example. So let's say 1 divided by 1/3. 3. Yes. Now, what about, let's say, okay, this is a bit harder, so be careful. 2 divided by a quarter now. 8. You are good, actually. Wow. You know why it's 8, eh? Because quarter makes 1.
Yes.
So 4 times quarter is 1, right?
Yep.
And then when you double it, that's 8. Let me give you one more, yeah?
Yeah.
So look at this. I have now, this one is a bit harder, eh? Be careful now. Okay. 3 divided by 1/6.
That's wait, 18.
18.
Wow.
Very good. So you know how to get 18. Because when you times 1/6 times 6,
yeah,
that's 1.
1.
But what you need to get is 3.
3 times the thing.
3 times 6.
3 times 6 is 18.
18. Okay.
Wow.
That's good. That's good. Now this one is a bit harder. Yeah.
A bit harder.
Okay. 3 divided by 2/3.
2/3.
Oh, actually, I should give you a bit simple. Maybe, you know, let's say 4.
X.
Yes. So how did you get the number? How did you get 6?
So basically, there's 2
Uh-huh.
on the top.
Yes.
And then, yeah, and then there is like 2.
Okay. So now when you imagine what we have for 2/3, so let's say this is one part, and then you think about 2/3.
Which is,
so this much, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is 1,
This is 1 whole, and then you have to.
and this is 2/3, yeah. Okay. Now if I have another whole piece, and then I divide by 3, this gives me another 2/3 and another 2/3. And what happens is if you have 3 times of this, they make 1 plus 1, which is 2.
And then
But you double it, right? So these 3 guys make 2. And if you want to make 4, that means you need to have 6. You double it, right? So the answer is 6. That's correct. Okay. But sometimes when the number gets more, complicated, yeah, I think it's quite difficult when you want to get the answer by imagining, the division by visualize like this. Okay, so we want to get something more general actually. Okay, now if you look at the first example, which is the simplest one here, 1 divided by 1/3, yeah. So what happened is actually that's quite easy. Now let me tell you how to do this easily, yeah. So when you deal with the division with fraction, yeah, it's like you do now a multiplication and then you flip that fraction.
So it's 3 on 1.
Yeah. Now what happened is what you have here is,
and then you know that there are 3 pieces inside. So that's how you know.
No. Look, so what you multiplying now is you have whole number, you have fraction. So the way to do this, you have to know, put this into a fraction. So you have to put this into proper fraction. In this case, 1 is just equal to 1 on 1, right? And then times 3 on 1. Now you already learned how to multiply fraction.
So that's equal 3 on 1.
3 on 1. So that's how you got that number, 3.
So you have to basically flip the thing, times it by what you got.
Yeah, so you divide the second guy here and then multiply with the first one. Now let's see the second example from the previous page. Now look at this one here, yeah? 2 divided by 1 on 4. So if you now do the same thing like before.
You flip the 4 to be 4 on 1, and then you do 2 on 1 times 4 on 1, which makes 8 on 1, and then you got 8 as your answer.
That's true. So this is like 2 times 4 on 1, right? Because you flip this, 4 on 1. Now that 2, now you make it into a fraction, which is 2 on 1.
Yeah, but you can't just have it as 2, because then it will times the denominator as well, which will have 2, and then on 8, which will be a...
So 8 divided by 1. So the answer was 8, right?
Yeah.
So that actually makes things easy now, because when you know the trick to do division for fraction, that's not difficult if you know how to do it like this. Okay, like let's say this one now, 3 divided by 1 on 6, yeah? So let's do the same way like before.
You flip the 6 to
3 divided by 1 on 6, yeah?
Flip the 6.
So yeah, you flip that 1 on 6 becomes 6 on 1.
And then you make 3 a fraction, which is 3 on 1. And then you times 3 on 1 with 6 on 1. And
that's
that
18. So the answer was 18, yes?
Yeah.
Now, the last division that you did was what? So if you remember, 4 divided by 2 on 3. Okay, 4 divided by 2 on 3.
So you need 3 on 2. 3 on 2.
Yeah, so basically 4 times 3 on 2.
And then you make 4 on 1. And then you times that. So it's 12 on 2. And that's 6.
That is
because
6.
12 is divided by 2.
Yeah. So that's how you got the number actually when you do division. Yeah. So when you look at the way we do it now, I think things get easier, because when you do division which involve fraction, what you do is to flip this guy and then you multiply it with the first one, okay? And
yes, good job.
That trick also applies when you have, for example, 1 on 4, 1 on 2, half divided by 1 on 4, the very first example that I gave you.
So 2 on 1 and then 4 on
1 on 2. No, you don't flip this one. You don't flip the first guy. What you need to flip is only the second guy, which is in this case 4 on 1.
4 on 2.
Yeah, so if you now multiply them, it is 4 on 2,
and
which
then 4
is
divided by 2 is 2.
2. So you see, when you have the first example like this one before, and now makes sense. It makes sense now why half divided by 1 on 4 equals to 2. So now let's do something like very general. For example, if you have 2 on 3 and then you want to divide by, let's say, 5 on 6.
You flip the 5 on 6.
Mhm.
So that's a 6 on 5.
6 on 5.
And then you times 6 by 2, which is 12.
Uh-huh.
And then 12 on 15.
12 on 15. So
And
that's the answer.
Yeah,
That's the
because you
answer.
can't divide it.
Now, actually, when you look at this fraction, 12 on 15, you can simplify it further, right?
Yeah.
You can
You
simplify.
can make it 4 on 5.
So we are now doing equivalent
Yeah.
fraction, yeah?
So it can become 4 on
So
5.
how do you get that number?
Because 12 and 15 can be both divided by 3.
Uh-huh.
So 12 divided by 3 is 4. That's our numerator. And then 15 divided by
that, yeah?
3 is 5. And then that's our
4
denominator.
on 5. Can we simplify it further?
No.
No. Yeah, just like this, okay, 4 on 5. So that's always fine if you divide, let's say, fraction and fraction, and then you get another fraction, yeah? But with this example, of course, it is no more challenging to visualize what's going on here. I mean, if you're trying to, plot the fraction, like how many of this, yeah, to be a fraction, it becomes more difficult. So let me now give you one more. Yeah, let me now give you one more. This is actually a bit more challenging. Let's say I have now 1 2/3 divided by, let's say, 5 on 6.
Okay. I think I know how to do
Yes.
this. So first, since like the 1 is like 3 pieces because it's in thirds. So you add 3 onto the 2. So that's a 5 on 3. And then you flip it around. So then you have 5 times 6, which is 30. And then
Okay. So first of all, this mixed fraction here, yeah, mixed number here, you trying to
like
write down into fraction. Okay, so that makes 5 on 3. Patrick, do you agree? When you change this mixed fraction into proper improper fraction, yeah, gives you 5 on 3. Okay, good. So that's the way you do it first. Yeah, if you have mixed fraction like this, you have to change it. You have to change it. Yeah. Now you divide by 5 on 6, and then yes. Now I haven't flipped it here. So what I'm doing is just to change from mixed fraction into improper into improper. So now I'm flipping it. Okay. So basically now it's like you multiply 30 on 15, yeah.
And then we can simplify that to be 6 on 3, and then we can simplify that further to be 2 on 1.
Okay. So what is 2 on 1?
That's equal to
2.
Oh yeah, 2.
Now, this is actually quite interesting when you go from this answer, 30 on 15, and then you simplify it, and then you get this number. So what happened is like this. Actually, if you look at the number that you calculate here, yeah, so you see now, numerator here is 5 times 6, and then the denominator is 3 times 5, yeah. Okay. What I want to show you is actually before you get this number, yeah, before you get the answer like 30 on 15, if you can simplify at this point, that'll be better. Yeah. What I'm saying is, for example, if you have 5 times 6 divided by 3 times 5, you have this guy 5 and 5 here at the top and at the bottom.
Oh yeah, you can simplify that.
Like, so yeah,
like
you can divide by the same number.
And then that's 1, and then that's 2.
Yeah, this is 1 now, and this is 1, yeah. And in fact, if you now have 6 on 3, you can also divide both of them with the same number, which is divided by 3, and then at the end of the day, you get 2 on 1, which is equal to 2. Yeah. So sometimes when you see this multiplication and you can simplify it at that point, yeah, it will make it a bit simple.
Wait,
Yes.
so Papa,
Yeah.
to divide, you have to multiply.
Hmm?
So to divide fractions, you need to multiply fractions.
Yeah, that's what you are doing actually with this divided by this one. Yeah, so it's just first you flip 5 on 6 into 6 on 5, and then you multiply this with that one, this and this one. Now let me give you one more. This is this is the last one, okay? This is the last one, and then you can try some practices, and then you can play.
Yeah, but
Yeah?
not my Judy.
Okay. 1/3
I like to
divided by, let's say, 2, let's say 1 on 6.
I'm gonna do something nice. I'm gonna
So,
do something nice.
Yeah.
So turn that into that.
You can try, Patrick, you know. 1/3 divided by 2, 1 on 6.
So like the first answer you get is 24 and 26, and then you can simplify it by 2 to give us 12 on 13, 12 on 13, and yeah, that's our answer, 12 on 13.
What on?
12 on 13.
Okay, we'll wait.
Until Patrick.
Yes.
Can I go to the floor?
Yes.
Yay, I made something nice. Yay. Hello. Look what I made, Papa. I do this. Papa. Nice?
Nice.
I'll make one for you, but it's a big one. Why I'm trying to make a big one.
Okay.
Like this big.
Okay.
I'm trying. All right. I'm trying. So I do it one a little bit. Okay. Give Patrick back the rubber once you're done. Okay, Samson?
Yeah, find the other one, you know.
Different answers.
No. Find the other eraser.
Oh, yeah.
You have.
There should be one in my box of stuff.
Okay, so did you get the answer, Patrick?
So
You haven't,
probably
okay.
no.
No, okay, that's fine. Let's check this first, yeah. So I think what you did here was to convert this into, you know, improper fraction. So what is that? 1/3. What is it into 4
2
on
Oh, 3.
3?
Oh, sorry, I misread it.
And you divide by. Now you also do the same thing with this
I
one.
got the wrong answer. Can I read it? I'm gonna reverse.
13 on 6. Now this is very important. You know, look, guys. Yeah, if you do one thing, yeah, let's not bother to do another thing in the same steps here, you know, because that will confuse you. So let's just do one by one first, yeah, rather than look at this, Rafael, rather than flip this from the beginning, you know, yeah, because sometimes you can mess around with the steps. Yeah, that's why normally when I see we have mixed number here. What I'm doing here first is to convert them into improper fraction first rather than doing the multiplication. You see? Okay. So now what you do next is to multiply with this, but you flipped it, right? So now you flip this. You flip 13 on 6 and it becomes 6 on 13. And then you multiply it now, yeah, 4 times 6 divided by 3 times 13.
You can simplify.
Now, at that point, actually, we have some numbers that you can divide by the same thing. You see 6 and 3 here. So you can divide them by 3 and also 3, yes? And what you get here is 2. And then this is 1. So 4 times 2, that makes 8. And then 1,
13. 8 on 13.
13.
Yeah, that's my new answer. Because before I got 12 on 13, but now I changed it.
Do you guys have any question how to do the division with fraction? Do you have any question? Do you have any question how to do division?
But what happens if the thing can't be divided by that?
That's all right. I mean, sometimes, for example, if you have, 2/3, and then you divide by 5 on 7, like this, yeah? Right? And then what you do is to do the same thing like we did before, 7 on 5, right? And you see this, number we can divide by the same number here. So what you do is simply to multiply those, which is 14 divided by 15.
Oh, so that's simply just...
Yeah, that's the answer. That's that. And we can't simplify it further here also. Yeah. No, I think let's just do some practices and then we are done. We are done.
So we do like...
No, let's just write down the question from your on your paper. Yeah.
Do you know the paper?
No.
Oh,
okay. So what is the first one? It is so this is number 1, yeah. 6 divided by 3, 1 on 5.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Sure.
Now the second one, 5, 1 on 4 divided by 7. Right. And then number 3, 5 and a half divided by 5, 3 on 8. Okay, so 3 problems. Yes, thank you. Yes.
I usually get more practice in this battery. And then it's like, come on. I want to the final one. Yes. A nice picture has a giraffe. Good job. I made everything nice. I think when Mama. You're done. I'm done. So.
Wait.
Do you have to simplify it?
Yes.
Okay. I can help you if you like. Okay. They simplified it to me. I think. But the secret, my dad's secret strategy. They can be divided. Same thing because we multiply by the same thing. You need help, Patrick? Yeah, okay. So let's see what we do. You tell me that.
Yeah, okay. So you can discuss one another with this one. Yeah, I'll just stop
So
the recording.
Now you have to remember, you have to turn this